Let's say you're thinking about going for a new job. It could be because you just got laid off. It could be because you're in your job but you don't love it and you're ready to move on to the next. Or it could be that you're just thinking about the future and you're planning ahead because you want to be ready when it's time. How do you think about which job you're going to target and what role would make the most sense for you? If you've been disrupted in some way, as many people have during this health crisis, it may be tempting to hunker down and take a safer route, or maybe even consider taking a step backwards. So by the end of this video, I'm going to provide you with 3 strategies to charge ahead boldly and to create movement forward in your career despite the context of what's going on right now. For the best strategies to take your career forward, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you can be notified whenever I post new content, typically every Tuesday. I'm Christina dellisanti-Miller, a full potential realized, and I spent about 20 years in big corporates consulting to and developing leaders. I also started a not-for-profit, and I helped women achieve competitive roles in investment banking and technology. So through that experience, I can use my behind-the-scenes insider info to help women take their careers to the next level, and I've helped hundreds of women to do so. One of my favorite frameworks for thinking about a change process, whether it's a personal change process or I'm leading a group through change, is Beckhard and Harris. And I'll put a link to a picture of it in the description. There's a little sketch. It's pretty straightforward, so I'll explain it to you. First, you start out with deciding if the change is really necessary, because it's hard to generate momentum for a change that is not necessary, is the premise. Second step is to look at the future state, that's the desired state, and create it from nothing, not constrained by where you are now. Third step is to look at the current state, where you are now, to understand what is the difference between where you want to be and where you are. Fourth step is to come up with a plan to get you from point A to point B. And fifth step is to manage during the transition. So that's the basic framework, hugely valuable, has a million uses. We're going to use it for this, but for this specific video, we're just going to focus on designing the future state. Before we jump into targeting the future state role, I'm curious where you are just now. Are you thinking about your next role? If you are, let me know in the comments. And if you want to share your best tip for targeting a role that's really going to stretch and challenge you and that you're going to love to hear your perspective. Again, the more we share in this community, I think the more we help each other. I just want to start out with this context, if you will, and that is to stand in a place that anything is possible. I'm not talking about like go to the moon possible. I'm just talking about really what's feasible for you and stretching to think of what you would really love to do if you knew you weren't going to fail. First tactic, job inventory. So take out your resume and a journal or some paper and go through each role sequentially and make a few notes about what was it about that role that really inspired you. For this exercise, we're not going to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're just going to look at what was really great about it. What were the things that really stretched you, where you delivered your capability, where you showed up as your best self, where you were inspired, right? What were the great things about each role? So make a note for each role and then call out 3 to 5 themes. Because when we think about what works, success leaves clues. So we're going to look at what happened already that really worked for you. Second tactic is to think about meaning. If passion comes from meaning, a focal point of your job search is going to be to solve the problem that's most important for you. You want to solve a problem that a business thinks is important, but also something that means something for you, the way you want to make a difference. For example, if you look at my resume, many different jobs all have a common thread, which is about either helping people, individuals, to reach their full potential, or organizations and teams to reach their full potential, or to put in place systems to optimize the individuals and the business. Right? So what is your mission? What is your purpose? What is the thing that unites what you've been doing so far, if you've been on task? Or what is it that really would make a difference for you about how you can make a difference? Third strategy, if you think about using the desired state or the desired future state concept for your whole life and all the aspects of your life, your job, your relationships, your friendships, your family, spirituality, wealth, contribution, well-being, right? If you think about that big picture, what role or job fits in and helps drive all those things in the direction where you want them to go? So part of this is to think about a balanced experience where you're creating a whole life that produces the results that you want for all aspects, and figure out what fits into that at the same time as driving something that you're really passionate about and that you really want to put your whole heart into. Okay, so let's get really practical. I'll give you one more tip to kind of put a wrapper around these more conceptual pieces, this idea of what do I know lights me up already, where do I want to put my energy, and what problem do I want to solve in the world, and how do I want this to fit into my bigger life context. Practically, how do we know what these jobs are? I'd say go to LinkedIn, which is an amazing database, and start surfing around and making notes. So what are the roles with people who graduated 5 years ahead of you with your same degree? What are the roles of your peers and your managers? What are, just looking at their career histories. If you Google the jobs that some of those people had or have that might be interesting, what are the job requirements? What are the framings of the roles, right? I feel like Indeed and LinkedIn both give you a plethora of ideas about roles. I think probably LinkedIn is more of an intuitive source, and you can kind of jump around and go from connection to connection. It's more interesting, I think, to kind of see the experience of people who've actually done it and use that as inspiration for the kinds of roles that you might want to target. And part of it is you have to see what's available. So at different times, different roles are available or not, depending on how the economy is doing and depending on the centrality of the role, if it's a nice to have role or if it's a mission critical role, right? So there is context that is going to determine what's available. But I think by leveraging your network, both in terms of to understand what's available and to get access to what's available, you might have access to more roles and more aligned roles than you realize. Preparing for your next role is just one step in a bigger process to take your career to the next level. If you're interested in learning more, access my free training at fullpotentialrealized.com/advance. I'll put a link in the description. It's all about the step-by-step process you can take to really optimize your career. Check out these next videos to further accelerate your advancement, get ready to take on more responsibility, or just enhance your compensation. If you like this video, please give it a like, share it with your friends, give it a comment, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And if you have questions about your career or if you have certain topics that you'd like to see me address, please let me know in the comments.